Alright, welcome to my Pokemon Platinum Let's Play. Now, I need to actually complete this series, and I started over like 3 times up to date, so I'm actually going to complete the game this time around. So, since I started over like a million times, I'm going to pretty much complete it. So, I've started over again, so I skipped most of the boring part, like the tutorial and you talking to your mom. I'm at the part where you basically talk to Barry. Alright, so it's basically just him talking, being a little fucking, I don't know what he is. He's really stupid. So yeah, I honestly don't want to talk over this because I've done it like once, and actually I've done it twice and it's really annoying. So I'm gonna do a lot of speeding up like this, just for this these parts right here. So basically, yeah, you fucking jump into the grass and like you just talk, and he's like, oh no, yeah, you're fucking wild Pokemon's just gonna jump out of nowhere, and like you're about to, you're like, oh yeah, let's scoot over, let's just fucking jump. No one's gonna talk to us. There's no Pokemons. They're not gonna talk to us. And then you're about to freaking jump, and like you're like and some guy's like, hold it, and you're like, oh god, and you look back, you're like, oh god, that's a professor, and you're like, what? And the fucking professor's like all majestic, and the music changes, and he's like all like fucking all knowing. He's like, you don't seem to know, like he's all like freaking amazing, and you're like, oh god, this guy's amazing. Barry's like dumbstruck. He's like still dumbstruck. The professor's like, oh god, I'm like so sick of these kids, and Barry's like, hey, awesome, this old guy, it's Professor Owen, isn't it? Like, god, get some respect, kid. It's a professor. Don't call him old guy. Rowan's still sick of his shit right here, isn't he? And he's like, oh, what to do? The world surely change if they were oh my god, this guy's like a freaking genius, isn't he? And he's like, oh god, you two truly have Pokemon. And I'm like no, but then I have like no choice to say, like, that gives me the option to say no, but I have to say yes. So I'm like, alright, yes. And I'm like, oh god, this game's forcing me how to play it. I don't care about Pokemon. I'd rather beat them to death. And he's like, you two truly love Pokemon, do you? And Barry's like, what? You can ask 100 times. Like, he's being a smart ass he is. And basically, we're like, oh yeah, we love Pokemon. Yeah, totally. A pair of reckless kids who foolishly try to enter tall grass without Pokemons of their own. Yeah, totally. And it worries me that people like that would do that. Oh my god, he's so smart. Barry's like, well then, forget about me. Give the Pokemon to my friend here. You know, Barry being a nice person. That never happens in real life. The professor's like, how big of you? Very well, then I will entrust you two with a Pokemon, because that just happens in the real world, huh? And yeah, pretty much, you got to promise him that we'll never just do stupid shit, because we're kids. And then, you know, I'm like looking straight into, oh boom, Dawn comes out of nowhere. Professor Rowan, like being the kiss up she is. And then you're like, oh, something wrong here. And then Rowan's like, ah, there it is, Dawn, nice work. And like, I'm pretty sure they have a sexual relationship. And then, you know, Dawn's like, oh my god, Pokemon's are hard. Like, she's a genius all of a sudden. And they're like, oh god, Pokemon, what will the world be like? Oh my god, let's explore. And he gives us a free Pokemon just right there. Don't know why that happens, but whatever. So I get to choose up, and you know, my partner's an asshole, and he's gonna choose the one that's like super effective against me. So I'm like, oh god, and I'm like, all right, let's choose a Pokemon, and I'm like, oh god, let me think about this. And you know what? And then I was like, oh god, let's choose a turtle, because yeah, you know what? Why not? It's a turtle, I think. All right, so he chooses Chimchar, because why not? Okay, so like he trusts us with like, oh my god, we have Pokemons for the first time, and we're like 10 years old. Our fucking jaw drops. And you know what? Look, I'm freaking amazed here. All right, Dawn's like, shit, god damn it, fucking pop-ups. All right. And then Barry's like, how do you like that? Professor Rowan's really nice. On TV, he seems so stern and scary. Yeah, because he's on TV. He has to act like a badass. And then he also, okay, yeah, we're going to fight now. Alright, so we're going to fight. And, oh my god, your first Pokemon battle. Oh my god, this is really, like, you'll freaking memorize this for days. Alright, so that's Barry. He does that freaking stupid dance of his. Alright, you're challenged by Pokemon trainer Barry. Oh my god, he sends out a Chimchar, and like you send a Turtwig. You're freaking, your mind is like blown. You have only 2 moves. Here, I'll show you. You guys got only 2 moves. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with it. But yeah, you can either tackle or withdraw. Being the genius I am, I'll just choose tackle. The full Chimchar's faster than me. He uses Leer. Ooh. Fucking pulling out all the cards, eh? And then Turtwig uses tackle. And I'm like, oh god, this is the graphics. And then fucking Barry's dumbstruck. She's like, what? He's like, what? No, that one hurt you? And I'm like, oh yeah, no shit it did. And he used Leer again. I don't get why you're not attacking me. Turtwig's defense fell. And like, fucking, yeah. No way, we can keep going. This is where we hit our strikes. You never did a single damage on me, so I don't know what you're talking about. And then Chimchar, oh my god, a 3rd Leer. You know Barry has some trick up his sleeve. He's probably just gonna one hit me and I'm gonna cry. And then one last tackle. He uses Scratch. Alright. Watch this. Freaking amazing. And then he almost owns me. I own him though, like, cause I'm boss like that. The full Chimchar fainted. Oh, no shit. 69 XP. God damn. And I freaking level up. Oh my god, level 6. I'm like a pro. And you know what? He's like so confused that I lost. I'm the protagonist here. You're gonna lose every time to me, unless I don't train. So we go home and we're like, oh my god, I'm beat after the battle. My Pokemon need to rest too. No shit. See, awesome. And I'm like so freaking amazed. And I'm talking to my mom. I'm like, yo, I need to rest my Pokemon, please. And then she talks to me. What's the matter, dear? And I tell her, oh yeah, my dumbass friend got some Pokemon somehow by jumping into like grass. Well, we almost did, but then the fucking professor found us. So now you're like, oh, you get a scolding from your mom. It's like your mom's like, I wonder what would have happened if you never had that Pokemon. You would have freaking died. And we go to Sandgem Town. And say, okay, all right, we'll go to Sandgem Town. We'll go there. She gives us some running shoes. I mean, because we can't run in our regular shoes. I mean, yeah, that works. And pretty much she teaches us how to run. All right, so you press B. All right, you dash. Oh my god, gotta hold B. You freaking run like Usain Bolt on steroids, and you're like, oh god, this is game breaking. And then you're like, oh god, but the text is too slow. How do I fix that? And then you get like a smart ass idea where you're like, oh wait, maybe I should just check the, I don't know, settings. And you keep talking to your freaking mom by mistake because she won't shut up. And you're like, oh god, okay. And then you're like, oh god, press X. You're like, oh god, maybe if I go to options, maybe that's how I can speed up the text. And you're like, oh shit, I can change the frame type. So you change to like the most badass one, you know, black, because black's pretty badass if you ask me. And then you're like, oh god, so I have to go to Sandgem Town, don't I? And you're like confused. You're like, oh my god, what should I do? Well, I know that if I go straight, I'll get into the route. But I'm confused now. And you see your Barry, you see your partner. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Sandgem Town with them. You know what? Let's do that. We'll go to Sandgem Town, alright? No, you want to go to the lake? Oh well, I mean, because why not? I mean, the thing's right there. But if you want to go to the lake, and you're like just walking with them, and you're like, Verity lakefront, and you're like, whoa, there's a lake here. Shit, it's a lake. Some shit's gonna happen in the future here. And you're like, all right, we're at the lake. Yeah, it like took us like 20 steps. Get ready because we're capturing a legendary Pokemon. Yeah, with a Chimchar. Yeah, we don't have Pokeballs. And then you guys enter, and you see this. Like the music changes. It's all subtle, and you're like, what's going on? You see this guy. He has sick hair, and you're like, he's like thinking of the flowing time, the expanding space, and you're like, oh, god damn, that guy's hair is way too badass, and you have like all respect for him. You like move over, and you're like, oh god, that guy's weird, but he has sick hair, and you're like, oh god, that's true. And you're talking to Barry, you're like, let's catch that legendary Pokemon. You're Kion or some shit, and you're like, oh god, I hear a voice. That's probably the legendary. And you're like, oh shit, the legendary. And then your 10-year-old mind's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go catch the legendary Pokemon. All right, we're gonna catch it, and then you're like, wait, what? Like Barry's like, we don't have anything on us. Yeah, no shit. You're doing like what, 2? And then you're like, oh, if we don't catch these Pokemon, we can't catch Pokemon. Oh my god. Do you think Professor Rowan would give us some if we asked him? Yeah, because we're freaking leeches. And you're like, alright, let's go. Let's finally visit this lab. Your freaking partner ditches you, and you're like, oh god, he ditches me. What true friends I have. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember. I have these freaking running shoes. You're like running like a boss. You're running. Enough said. And you're just like, oh god, the first patch of grass. And then you're thinking to yourself, this place, I should commemorate it. Look at this. The sign, the first sign you'll read in the game. Don't be shy. Talk to anyone and everyone you happen to see. By talking to people, you'll get invaluable information and advice. See what this slut has to say. Yo, slut. Learning information in Pokemon. And now your freaking 10-year-old mind's thinking, oh my god, a big patch of grass. Oh, I might see a Pokemon. It might be a shiny. And then you're like, oh god, it's safe. Oh my god, of my first battle. And you think to yourself, oh god. What is that? And you're like, oh god, this is a Bidoof. Well, I mean, it's a Bidoof, and you run away because you know what, you don't got time for a Bidoof, and you're like, okay, yo, we got to go to places. You see Dawn, and Dawn's like waiting for you. He's like, oh, there you are. Please come with me. The professor's waiting, and I'm like, oh shit, he is, and I'm like, oh god, this is the lab. This is it. Barry just crashes into you. What a douche. What the? Oh, it's you, awesome. He's. I love the guy. No homo though. And then like Dawn's like, oh god, what's wrong with him? And you enter the house or the freaking lab, and you're like, oh god, this place is so subtle. Rowan, he's got 2 workers for him. You show me Pokemon. And you're like, oh, this Pokemon seems to be happy. Like he doesn't know that I whipped him at home. Well, would you like to give it a nickname? And I say yes. Give your Pokemon a nickname. Give it something you'll love. Something everyone loves. And everyone loves candy. So you nickname what you love. And you love the Turtwig, but you also love candy. So you nickname it Candy. This is your proud moment. Your journey begins here. Once you leave this lab, nothing in the world will stop you. Nothing. You're gonna have this firm talk with Professor Rowan. You're gonna march right in there. You're gonna talk to him. You're gonna get a Pokedex. And you're thinking, oh god, I have my whole, oh my god, you're like, you're so happy, and you're like, yes, I will record data on all the Pokemon in Sinnoh for you, because free labor, why not? And you get the Pokedex, and you're like, oh my god, is this still, oh, and then Dawn's like, yeah, I got one too, and then I'm like, oh god, a Pokedex, gonna burst into tears any second here. And you're like, my journey begins. I must collect all the data of the Pokemon. And you know what? This is a proud moment. Dawn leaves you. And you know what? You think to yourself, well, this whole game's so action-packed for me. How do I save? And you're like thinking, maybe if I open up the menu. Oh god, there's a save option. and you save, and you're like, oh god, it's saving a lot of data. I've been practicing for my whole life, and you're just thinking to yourself, oh god, my journey has begun. I shall be the Pokemon Master. I shall do what it takes. I shall. I'm just at a loss of words, and I shall end this video.